Hello, I'm Mike, and this is Will, and we are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
I'm bringing you issue 24 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine today. Now, this issue we got another sprue from the Soul Wars box. We got 5 Glaivewraith Stalkers, 4 Grimghast Reapers, and a Lord Executioner for the Nighthaunt. We'll go have a quick look at the issue, but if you wanted to skip that, there will be a time code in the description to get to the game we're going to play later. Heading on into the issue, first up we have obviously background on the Lord Executioner. So in life, these were executioners who weren't too bothered about whether the people they were executing were actually guilty, enjoyed their jobs a little bit too much, and in death they are given great axes and tasked with killing enemy heroes and champions and such. And they're followed by the spirits of their victims, which taunt and berate them, but also protect them from magic. And you can see the model there, just going over some of the equipment. And background on the Grimghast Reapers. So in life, these were killers who carefully planned out their kills, and in death they move sort of robotically almost until nothing remains. And it also mentions the death knells, which the champions of the unit carry, the Extoller of Shyish, which apparently the sound from it is enough to shake a mortal soul loose from the host body. Here was some background on Ghyran, the Realm of Life, which the last few issues have covered and the last few battles have taken place in. It was teeming with animal and plant life until the Chaos God Nurgle invaded. But now in the Age of Sigmar, the Sylvaneth and the mortals who live in the realm are starting to fight back against the Chaos God. And it goes over some of the major locations, so Hammerhall and Greywater Fastness have been vaguely mentioned before. There's some of the cities of Sigmar, and the Living City map mentions the Hallowed Knights Stormhost. And then we have our build guide for the new models. These are from the Soul Wars box, so they're pretty easy to put together, but you will need glue. And as always with Nighthaunt models, you do need to be quite careful, because there's lots of things that can snap off, especially these little spooky bits. And the Lord Executioner in particular, it's kind of held up by his axe haft, so you do need to be a little bit careful. And the painting guide is pretty much the same as we've seen with all the other Nighthaunts so far. Starting off with a base coat of white, washing it with the Nihilog oxide and then dry brushing it. And blue cloth and red for some of the trim, and the metal and the wood with silver and brown, and the Rakhar flesh with the bone, as you might expect. And with that over, we'll get into our game for this issue.
Now we've had a look at the magazine, we can get on to our battle for this issue. And we have warscrolls for our new units that have arrived for the Nighthaunt. So we've got the Lord Executioner here. He's a fairly standard Nighthaunt hero profile, 5 wounds, 6-inch move, 4+ save, and bravery of 10. And he has one weapon, which is a decapitating great axe, which, as you can see, has 3 attacks, 3+ to hit and wound, and a Ren -2 with 1 damage. But he has an ability called Beheading Strike, that if he rolls a unmodified 6 to wound, it's damage 3 plus 2 damage. He's ethereal and can fly like all the Nighthaunt. He also has an effect where, at the beginning of the combat phase, you can pick an enemy hero within 3 inches of him, and that hero has -1 to hit for that combat phase. And finally, Disembodied Skulls means that he can ignore mortal wound allocated to him on a roll of 5+. And over the other side, as usual, we just got an explanation of how those various abilities work and some examples. Then the warscrolls for the Grimghast Reapers. They have an 8-inch move, 1 wound and a 4+ save, and bravery 10. The normal models in the unit have a Slasher Scythe, which has 2 attacks, they hit on 4s, wound on 3s with a Ren -1 and 1 damage. But the unit leader, the Extoller of Shyish, has a Death Knell, which is basically a big bell on a stick, which only has 1 attack, but it hits on 3, and -1 Ren and does 2 damage. And it also has an ability that means that for every model that the Extoller of Shyish kills with his bell, you can inflict 1 mortal wound on an enemy unit within 3 inches of the model armed with the Death Knell. It basically splash damage if he kills people, although you have to allocate wounds from that last of all when resolving their attacks. And the models armed with Slasher Size have a different ability which allows them to reroll failed hit rolls as long as they're targeting a unit with 5 or more models. And again, some examples and explanation on the back. And we also have an updated war scroll for the Stormcast Castigators, which feature in this game. Everything here we've seen before, except their version of etheric channeling. Like the Sequitors, they can put their arcane power into their weapons. They have 2 options. They can either increase the accuracy or power of their Thunderhand Great Bows. If they choose accuracy, they can reroll hit rolls of 1 when shooting. If they choose power, then they have a Ren of -2 instead of -1. Against Nighthaunt, I'm probably always going to use reroll hit rolls of 1 because they ignore Rend anyway, so Rend -2 is completely relevant against them, but we'll see that coming up in the game. And it also clarifies that, like the Sequitors with their Great Mace, the D3 hits on a hit roll of 6 only apply against Demon and Nighthaunt units. And once again, an explanation of all that. But now we're on to our game. This bit of fiction here explains the story behind it. The Night-Questor and his accompanying Stormcast continuing to investigate the abandoned ruins they found in Canothiel in the Realm of Life. But as they have a look round, they hear the tolling of a bell and are confronted with a Lord Executioner and his minions. So we have our battle plan, Battle in the Forest. And we have the new Nighthaunt units from this issue, so the Lord Executioner, the 4 Grimghast Reapers, and the 5 extra Glaivewraith Stalkers, plus the 4 that we had already, to make up 9, facing off against the Night-Questor, 5 Castigators, and a Prosecutor. Like the few previous issues, we've got no terrain yet on the battle mat, and the territories are exactly the same. Again, we alternate, we're setting up units one at a time, starting with the Stormcast player. The Nighthaunt player has the first turn, and once again, whoever has no models left at the end is the winner. All very straightforward. We will show you our deployment and then get into our game. So here we are once again on our Realm of Life battle mat. There's no terrain on it, so all the printed terrain once again doesn't do anything. We have our Stormcast Eternals on this end, with the Night-Questor down here closest to the camera, then the 5 Castigators in a line and the Prosecutor on the end. And the Nighthaunt on the other end. We've got 9 Glaivewraith Stalkers, then the Lord Executioner, and then the 4 Grimghast Reapers at the top. Let the Nighthaunt get the first turn in Battle Round 1, so we'll head straight into the Nighthaunt turn. Beginning of their turn, the Nighthaunt gain command point in the hero phase.
And in movement phase, all my units are going to run, so I'm going to start with the Glaivewraiths. Get to go an extra 2. I'm actually going to spend my command point to make that 6, because they're the slowest and they need to go move on. The Grimghast get to go an extra 6, and the Lord Executioner an extra 4. And after all my movement's complete, Glaivewraith's moved up there 12, the Grimghast's going to move just a little bit further, and the Lord Executioner's going to move up his 10 inches and stay within 3 inches of the Glaivewraith, so he gets the benefit of lookout. So
that's the position relative to the Stormcast, and we'll be on to the Stormcast turn. So here's the result of my movement. The Prosecutor has gone all the way over there into the corner. The Castigators have retreated to the board edge, and the Night-Questor is standing in front of them. Really so I can give the Nighthaunt multiple targets to choose from, but they can't engage my whole force in melee just by charging into one unit, hopefully. But we'll be on to shooting phase. Start with the Prosecutor. He'll throw some hammers at the Grimghast Reapers. I also gain command point at the start of my turn. He has 2 shots that hit on 4s, but I can reroll 1s. Well, I shall reroll both of those. Into 1 hit. Wounds on the 4. Hit wounded.
4+ save. Made it.
And then the Castigators will fire 5 shots at them as well. The Prime hits on 2s, so I use the red dice for him, everyone else on 3s. Now, I've already forgotten my new rule, which is that they can put power to accuracy or power on their bows. As I said before, I'm always going to use power to accuracy because the extra rend is irrelevant against Nighthaunt. So I would have declared that at the beginning of the shooting phase, so reroll those 2 1s. Oh, into 2 hits, one of which is a 6. So the 6s cause D3 hits each. Only 3, but that makes 6 hits in total. And then these wound on 3s. 4.
4+ saves. Failed 2. Let's take away these 2.
That's the end of my shooting, and I'm not going to declare any charges. And the Grimghast Reapers do not have to take a battle shock test because they are bravery 10, so they're fine losing 2 models. And we'll be rolling off for the next battle round. Rolling off. Oh, I got a 5, so I get to choose, and I will go first in this battle round, I think. My movement, I'm actually going to do something interesting, which is to send the Prosecutor out by himself to try and hold up on the Nighthaunt a little bit, and the Castigators are going to continue their movement into the corner, and the Night-Questor is still standing guard on the edge of their formation, so we'll be on to shooting. We'll do power to accuracy again with the Castigators. I'm just going to say now that that will always be my choice, because as I said, the rend is irrelevant, so I won't say it in future turns, but that's just what's going to happen. But we'll start the shooting with the Prosecutor. He'll throw some hammers at the 2 remaining Grimghast Reapers. Hits on 4s, rerolling 1s. Oh, they both missed. And the Castigators will all shoot at the Reapers as well, because I'm not sure that the Prosecutor can reliably take them both out in melee. 5 shots hitting on 3s, red hits on 2s. But I can reroll that 1, because of power to accuracy. Into a hit, so 4 hits in total, no 6s. Wounding on 3s, only 2.
4+ saves. Made both.
Alright. So the Prosecutor will have to do it. He will charge the Grimghast Reapers in charge phase. He actually rolls 3d6 and has them together, so yeah, I mean, he'll get within half an inch over here at the end, and he's not within 3 inches of anything else, and then he gets to hit them. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, but rerolling 1s. They both hit. Wounding on 3s. 1 wound, he's not going to kill them both.
4+. Nope. Last remaining regular Reaper will die.
And then the Extoller of Chase gets to hit him back.
Yeah, he's going to pile in. 1 attack hitting on a 3. No.
But that's the end of my turn. On to the Nighthaunt turn.
So first thing in my movement phase, the Glaivewraiths are going to run. Get to get an extra 1, I'm going to spend my new command point to turn that into a 6. After my movement, the Glaivewraiths are going to end up there, fairly close to all the Stormcast. And the Lord Executioner is going to move up 33 inches away from the Prosecutor to help the help the Extoller of Shyish.
Yep.
And the charge phase, the Lord Executioner will charge the Prosecutor. Why you got a 3?
That is the minimum required. So he makes it in like that.
I'll do the Lord Executioner first because it's probably more likely to kill the Prosecutor. He's got 3 attacks hitting on 3s. Getting 2. Wounding on 3s.
No.
Nothing.
So that means the Prosecutor actually gets to hit back and he will hit the Extoller of Shyish before he can get revenge. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. That's 1 hit. Wounds on a 3. Yes.
4 plus save. No.
So the Extoller is killed, and that is the end of the battle round.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling off, new battle round, 4.
6. So I'm going to go first. In my movement phase, the only thing that's going to happen is the Glaivewraiths are going to move up to be 3 inches away from all the Stormcast, and the Lord Executioner is going to stay in combat with the Prosecutor.
On to the charge phase.
Glaivewraiths are going to charge. You get a 6. That's easily enough to get someone in contact. They're going to finish their charge like that, so they have a 2-inch range for their glaives, so they can easily all get in and stay 3 inches away from the Knight-Questor. And in the combat phase, I'm actually going to pick them to go first. So we've got 18 attacks from the 9 Glaivewraiths, hitting on 4s, but we get to reroll misses because of the Edge of Death rule, because we charged. So we've got 8 hits before all the rerolls, 15 hits, wounding on 3s. Perfect average is 10.
So 10 saves of 4 plus. Ooh, I only made 4, so that's 3 whole castigators get killed by all of that. So we'll kill these 2 who are fighting them over there, and then this one on the end over here, leaving the Prime and 1 friend left. Now I get to pick, and I'm going to pick the Prosecutor before he gets decapitated. He has 2 attacks hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. That's a 1, so we roll that. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 1 wound.
4 plus save. Nope. Down to 4 wounds on the Lord Executioner. And then he'll get to hit back. 3 attacks hitting on 3s. 1 hit. Wounding on 3s. I got a wound.
Well, it's red -2, so 6 plus save. Nope. Takes the damage.
1 damage.
Down to 1 wound. Then the castigators get hit back. We'll pile this way in. Actually, we'll pile the Prime in that way slightly so that one can get in. So they 4 attacks from them, hitting on 4s. 2. And wounding on 4s. 1.
4 plus save from a Glaivewraith. No, it's another 1. It's 3 1s in a row. We'll take away this one.
It's the end of the combat phase. The castigators do have to take a battle shock test because they're bravery 7 and they lost 3, but I'm going to spend 1 of my 2 command points to automatically pass that thanks to the Night-Questor being within 6 inches. And then we'll be on to the Stormcast turn. The Night-Questor has moved up to get 3 inches away from the Glaivewraiths. The castigators are actually going to retreat, and they're going to run when they do that because you can do that. So rolling their run. 2. I'm going to spend my command point. I've got 2, so I'm going to get one this turn to make that a 6, just to get them really far away from all the melee stuff that they don't enjoy. So that run distance is enough to get them all the way over here, nice and far away. In the shooting phase they don't get to shoot, but the Prosecutor does. So he'll throw some hammers at the Lord Executioner. 2 hammers hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. 1 hit, wounds on a 4. Oh, it did.
4 plus save. Oh, I made that one.
Then we're on to the charge phase. The Night-Questor will charge the Glaivewraiths, needing not a double 1, or 11. Bring him in on the end, and the off chance he rolls really terribly, it might spare him a couple of attacks. But we'll do the Prosecutor first, actually, because otherwise he'll probably die. 2 attacks hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 1.
4 plus save. Nope, down 3 wounds. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Glaivewraiths to go, so we can easily get everyone in because of our 2-inch range on all weapons. So we've got 16 attacks from the 8 remaining Glaivewraiths, and hitting on 4s and re-rolling again because we're attacking a unit that charged. So we've got 9 hits for 4 re-rolls, and re-rolls, only get another 2. Wounding on 3s, 6.
3 plus saves, but re-rolling fails because of his special shield. We've got 2 1s, which you can re-roll into saves, so he takes no damage. And the Night-Questor gets to hit back. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, they all hit. Wounding on 3s, 6 is 2 damage, 3 normal ones.
3 4 pluses, made 1, 2 die, so let's take away these 2. And finally the Lord Executioner gets to try and redeem himself. 3 attacks hitting on 3s, 2 hits, wounded on 3s. Oh, that's a 6.
It's 2 damage, but he's only got 1 wound.
Which is irrelevant.
So I just need to make both of my 6+ saves. No, neither. It takes 4 damage.
The prosecutor goes down.
But that is the end of the Stormcast turn and the end of the battle round, so we'll be rolling off again. Rolling off for a new battle round, 3.
5, that's important. I'm going to go first. So my movement phase, the Lord Executioner is going to move 6 inches across to get closer to the Knight-Questor, and the Glaivewraith are going to retreat from the Knight-Questor, and so they can be 3 inches away from him here and 3 inches away from the Castigators, because they can retreat and charge in the same turn, because they have the drummer. In the charge phase, the Glaivewraith will charge. 8 inches is easy enough to get them to where I want them to go. So the Glaivewraith will finish their charge by surrounding the 2 remaining Castigators, and then the Lord Executioner will try and charge as well. Going to need an 8 to get within range of the Night-Questor. Well, that's enough. So he'll finish his charge there. And at the start of the combat phase, I get to pick a hero within 3 inches of the Lord Executioner, and he gets -1 to hit, and obviously it's going to be the Night-Questor. And I'm actually going to choose him to go first because he might get killed. He has 3 attacks hitting on 3s. They all hit. And wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
-2 rend, so I've got a 5+ save re-rolling 1s and 2s, because those would be the fails before modifiers. That's how re-rolls work. Well, let's re-roll those 2 1s. 2 going through, so 2 damage. He's down to 3 wounds. Oh, the Night-Questor is safe, so I'm going to hit with the Castigators before they get poked with some very sharp glaives. Yeah, 4 attacks hitting on 4s. Oh, wow, they all missed.
We have 12 attacks from the Glaivewraiths hitting on 4s, re-rolling everything because we charged. Rerolls, that's better. 10 hits. And wounding on 3s. 7 wounds.
7, 4+ saves. Yep, failed 3, so that will leave the Prime left on 1 wound. And then the Night-Questor gets to fight that. And he has 4 attacks hitting on 4s because of the Lord Executioner's ability.
Rerolling 1s and 2s.
Oh yes, re-rolling 1s and 2s because he's fighting a hero, but not that 3 because that would have been a success before modifiers. Into another 3, so only 2 hits.
Yeah.
Wounding on 3s, 1.
4+ save. No, down to 2 wounds.
But that's it for Nighthaunt turn, on to the Stormcast turn. Well, the Castigator Prime can't escape because he's blocked in here, he can't get past these Nighthaunt, and the Night-Questor won't retreat, so no movement onto the shooting phase. Castigator Prime has 1 shot, hits on a 2. Oh, it's 6, that's D3 hits, which comes out as 2. Which wound on 3s. No. On to the combat phase. I'm going to start with the Night-Questor because he could be killed by the Lord Executioner.
Yeah, I'm going to give him -1 to hit as well.
Okay. 4 attacks hitting on 4s. 3 hits this time. Oh, but rerolling the 2. There's an extra hit. Wounding on 3s. Only 2.
2 4+ saves. Ugh.
Yeah.
So that Lord Executioner dies. And then the Glaivewraiths get to fight the Castigator Prime. We've got 12 attacks hitting on 4s. It's only 5 hits. And wounding on 3s. Getting 4.
4+ saves. Failed 3 of them. The Castigator Prime is killed. But that's the end of the battle round, so we'll be rolling off. 5.
1.
Well, I'll go first, I suppose. Well, the Night-Questor will move up 3 inches away, and then he will charge. He needs, 3 is enough. He gets to there and he gets to make his attacks. 4 attacks on 3s. Oh, only 1. He's wounds on a 3. No.
So the Glaivewraiths will pile in so we can get everyone in. And we have 12 attacks hitting on 4s. We roll everything because we're attacking a unit that charged. There's 8 hits before rerolls. And after rerolls, another 2 hits. That's 10 hits. 6.
6 3+ saves, rerolling fails. Ooh, 4 fails to reroll them. Oh, into 4 successes, so no damage.
My turn, the Glaivewraiths are going to retreat so they're 3 inches away, and then we're going to charge in the charge phase. Oh, 4 is enough. After charging and piling in, we can get everyone within 2 inches. 12 attacks hitting on 4s, rerolling everything. And rerolls, get another 3, so it's 11 hits. Wounding on 3s. Yeah, 7 this time.
7 saves, rerolling fails. Only 1 fail this time, rerolls into a success, so they're doing damage again. 4 attacks back, hitting on 3s, 3. Wounding on 3s, 3.
4+ saves. Failed 2. I'll take these 2 away. And I'm actually just going to call it there because they're just going to keep charging back and forth forever. It's pretty unlikely now. If 2 charges from 6 of them couldn't do any damage, I don't think charges from 4 of them are going to do anything.
Fair enough. So the Night-Questor manages to hold out for a Stormcast victory. And we'll stop there. So that's it for this game. And we'll give you all our thoughts on that now. That was our battle plan from issue 24 of Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine. How do you think that went?
Well, I think a bit like when we first saw the Harridans, the poor Grimghast Reapers had a bit of new model syndrome, just got killed. The Lord Executioner didn't perform particularly well, at least early on.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think he rolled very well for his attacks, so maybe he has more to give, but the dice decided otherwise.
Whereas the Glaivewraiths did extremely well, basically killed your entire army.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? The Glaivewraiths, up until this point, haven't really been that effective, but in large numbers with their re-rolling, they can actually do quite a lot of damage.
Well, I mean, the Grimghast are still their lack of numbers is easy.
Well, and to be fair, I did shoot them because I knew that they were going to be more dangerous.
Yeah, and I think generally the extra inches of movement and the extra rend on their weapons has certainly helped. I guess it depends what army you're up against, but being able to re-roll hits against large units is potentially more useful than being able to re-roll hits when you charge or because you get to do it all the time.
They don't seem to be set up for binding against Stormcast because they re-roll hits against bigger units, and the Extoller does mortal wounds for number of models killed. Yeah,
if you were going up against an army of single wound models, the Extoller would kill 2 with his attack and then kill 2 more with mortal wounds. And the Lord Executioner, I mean, I think he's basically just my version of the Knight-Questor, less durable but with potentially more damage output, but he doesn't get to reroll hits, and he doesn't get to reroll his saves either, so he's much less durable. He has the 5+ to avoid mortal wounds, but I don't think that's not really enough to have him tank. I guess it would help him if he's fighting a wizard. And I think you'd need to pair him up with the Guardian of Souls and something that lets him reroll hits and or wounds to get the most out of him.
Yeah, because 3 attacks hitting on 3s is just not quite enough damage. He's not one of these anti-hero models. But what that means really is he can take on maybe like a support character and probably kill them. But against like the Night-Questor, who is quite tough.
I think he also has the sort of issue. It's the same kind of like with the Dreadblade Harrows, where you need an ideal situation to happen, otherwise they're just mediocre. So with Dreadblades, you need to charge to get the 2 damage, and with this guy, you need to roll 6s to wound. I guess potentially the Lord Executioner could do some high damage to a big horde if you got lucky with damage rolls.
I think really part of your new unit's lack of effectiveness, though, was because my Prosecutor was a bit of a hero.
Yeah, he held up the Grimghast and the...
I mean, his thrown hammers still didn't really do anything, but just by making that charge and holding up half your army for a couple of turns, he also lasted a lot longer than I expected him to be fair. But if your other units had arrived with the Glaivewraiths, who already killed 3 Castigators all by themselves, then I probably would have been in more trouble. So I think the fact that he was providing a speed bump was probably what won me the game, actually.
Yeah, I do certainly think it's definitely possible for the Nighthaunt to win. It's just kind of rely on the Lord Executioners to kill the Night-Questor. I guess the Reapers, they got -1 rend, so they could potentially do it as well. But
as we've seen with the Night-Questor, to get rid of him, you just have to put a ton of attacks on him and wear him down.
Eventually he'll go down.
Yeah. And actually, to be fair, you did get some hits through on him when the Lord Executioner got into combat. He was just weakened by that point, which meant I could just do enough wounds to him to kill him before he could do any serious damage.
And I guess also with this game particularly, it's got to come down to how good the Stormcast shooting goes. Because, I mean, you had 2 rounds of shooting that didn't actually do that much damage.
No, once again, the Castigators, I'm still not that impressed with them. I still don't find they have enough damage output really to certainly not to trouble your big units. I mean, sure, they can get extra hits on 6s, but when you're shooting stuff that has a 4+ save, at the end of the day, it doesn't add up to very much. Of course, they do have their special effect now, where they can give power to power or accuracy, but, as I said, I'm never going to use the power against Nighthaunt because it's going to be irrelevant.
Literally everything in the Nighthaunt army has ethereal. I wonder if you're actually better off using them to shoot at characters, because when you're shooting at things like chain rafts, you're not actually doing that much damage, whereas picking off a wizard, sure you get -1 to hit from look out sir, still get the reroll 1s, and you still get extra hits on a 6.
That's true, and when everything has a 4+ save, so maybe I should try and do that.
And I will mention, I do like the model for the Grimghast Reapers. They look pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the new Glaivewraiths are fine. I quite like the Glaivewraith models, but I will say the Lord Executioner, I don't like how he's basically held in the air on his axe. It's a reasonably thick bit of plastic compared to some of the other Nighthaunt models, but he still bounces if you touch him in the top. And even when painting him, you don't want them to move about too much. And I can definitely see things like the disembodied spooky heads falling off and that rope bending and that stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the Nighthaunt, even when hand handling them, sort of fear of accidentally bending something or whatever.
Although I think there is an alternate version of that model, because this one you could only get with the Soul Wolves box. You can buy a Lord Executioner separately. I'm not sure if that one's more durable. I think we do get it with the magazine eventually as well.
He's sold as Liacaron the Executioner.
Lycaron Executioner or something like that.
Yeah, but he is just a Lord Executioner. I just want to say I rather enjoy the Extoller of Shyish with a big bell, which in reality would clearly not be as effective as a scythe. And presumably it's a magical bell, which is why it has mortal wounds, but it just does look a little bit funny.
Well, a big solid lump of bronze probably would hurt.
Yes, I expect so, yeah.
It looked like he'd come to the battle and forgotten his scythe and had just found something that looked a bit like a scythe, and all the other Grimghasts have blindfolds, so they could never tell.
But I think that's all there is to say for this episode and this issue. So if you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and subscribe. Let us know what you think with any of your comments, particularly about, now we're starting to get a few more Nighthaunt units. If you have any thoughts about how various units perform and which ones you might take in your army, we'd be interested to know, because we are new to Age of Sigmar, so we don't know all this stuff necessarily. But we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.